Hey there. Hi, welcome to the Gotta Have Miami podcast, where we are always talking a little bit of real estate, Miami real estate, and how local politics affects real estate. And in today's particular way, first of all, I want to say I hope everyone's having a nice Good Friday.
And the first day of Passover.
First day of Passover, so that'll give you a little bit of time frame. And today we're on the corner of Grand Avenue and Elizabeth Street. And right behind us, you're going to see, right behind Asher's shoulder, you're going to see the Range Funeral Home. And it's going to become part of the discussion when we start to talk about our topic, which is really what's happening on Grand Avenue and where we are now as opposed to where we were when we left you on Tuesday's show, which was around 2009. But first and foremost, as always, we like to ask Ash, what's going on?
Well, we're here, Good Friday, episode 15.
15.
We've crammed 15 of these in.
And we've got a new intro coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. We don't know when, but it's coming.
It's coming. We have somebody helping us
Absolutely.
with the techie perspective of this all. We have some closings going on.
Yep.
Mostly held up by condos, nothing new. But good stuff, you know, we've been busy. It was a busy week for me, just running.
You pulled off that condo move?
I did.
You pulled that?
Well, I'm pulling off.
You're pulling off.
I'm pulling off.
But you're pulling off.
So I talked a little bit about last episode, the questionnaire that has the unanswered question that we need to have answered. The experience of Hav really gave me the light. So he said, hey, a 40-year inspector certification would answer that question. So digging and Googling and calling, and there is a 40-year inspector.
I love that, Googling.
Googling, I have to Google part of this research.
I like it.
So there is a report, now I just have to get it.
Okay.
So since we're on a holiday, I'm not hopeful that anything's going to happen today, but hopefully Monday or Tuesday.
We're making progress.
Yes.
I like it. I like it.
But it took a lot of work and research, you know, seriously just Googling and calling and asking and, you know.
There's a little bit of background noise because, like I said, we are on the corner and here comes a FedEx truck. This should be good. A little earlier, we were like doing our little mic test and stuff. We had a garbage truck that rolled up. That was a lot of fun.
I know. So we are worried about sound on this episode,
right.
But hopefully I can maybe add in captions. We'll see.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so we're gonna get to the topic, and like I said, the topic originally was what's going on with Grand Avenue, why you see all the vacant lots as you come in from Margaret all the way to 37th Avenue,
right.
And actually the kind of like the demarcation line is Plaza, and that goes back to one of the original agreements that none of this development could pass Plaza Street. That's why you see a different type of development on that side. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick it up now, and we left you right around 2009, 2010. So now we're going to go to 2000, move on from 2011 up to its current state. So in 2011, something interesting happens. There is a master use special permit that is approved for one of the development folks, which is Point Group, that's in this position. So they get a MUS approved in 2011, and must last 2 years. They go 2 years, and then you get 2 extensions.
Right.
So they go through their 2013 extension,
right.
Because obviously nothing was happening at that time because we were still kind of settling in from the recession aspect. And then they get another extension automatically to the 15. To the 17, so that we go to 17, and then in 17 now your basic extensions are over. But I will tell you something: there's very, very good creative ways of extending a MUS.
Yeah.
So I got to give credit to Greenberg Torrig and Iris, who then comes up with state of emergencies in the state of Florida. So if you can name some state of emergencies that happened in the state of Florida. Zika.
I'm sure a hurricane or two.
Oh, Hurricane Irma, Maria, Freddie, Bert, whoever you had was an extension.
What else did happen around
Wildfires?
there? The wildfires?
Yeah, so anything that you could come up that the state of Florida said was a state of emergency, that adds the time that the state of emergency was in place to this MUS. In this case, it was 600 and something days. So now it expires officially without any more emergencies, which we already had a bunch of other emergencies, so we'll come up with some more. And that happened. So now it expires in May of 2023. We're currently in April 2022. So kids, get ready. You got 1 year coming up.
And I can only assume that they've retained the same legal.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
pandemic's
yeah.
going to be a
the
big
pandemic
extension here.
for sure. Without a doubt, the pandemic will be a main one. So then that happens in 2011, 2012. We start to move forward, and around 2016, something really, there's a big play. Terra Group makes a move on all of the parcels. Remember, as I mentioned, all of this was for sale for $35 million, and Terra makes a move on the property.
Yeah.
And they get it all under contract. At that time, I think there's a place called Southwood, which is this apartment complex where the rents were $400. The city also sues one of the developers, and all hell breaks loose. Southwood,
like fun.
yeah, Southwood gets knocked down, and it ends up happening, evicting quite a few people. And then the city's in the lawsuit. Well, basically, Terra backs out. Terra backs out of the contract. This is 2016, 2017, and then we go back into status quo until something else happens. We have a lawsuit between the partners that own a big chunk of the parcels, and they're into a little bit of a dispute, and then one of the properties falls into foreclosure, which is this. Range falls into foreclosure, goes into bankruptcy. Across this way, there's another thing. So the original group puts a deal together to buy this property back with the bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Except another folks come in, B&B comes in and purchases it over them for $5.4 million. The original bid was 5.3, and now we have a leaf blower in the background, so who knows what's going to happen here. But B&B buys the properties, and it goes at 5.4. So now we kind of have three major players. We have Grove Brand, we have Point Group, and then now we have B&B, who owns an acre, not continuous, where they own an acre on it. So, now the question. Ready?
I'm ready. Tell
You're
me.
right. Okay. So a little bit after that, a gentleman by the name of Ricky Trinidad, which is one of the coolest names. Good dude.
I like that name.
Yeah, right. Good dude. Metronomics, which is this sign back here. So Metronomic comes in and puts under contract with $25 million, basically all of the parcels going that way, which is Elizabeth to Margaret.
Right.
And then they also put those properties across the street under contract with a great grand plan to build by right, not to go over anything else, which is T5. T5, you can go 75 feet high, and you can add as many stories as you want. And those stories can be, if you want to make them really short, you can add 10 stories, and I can fit into them.
Right.
So if not, you would go into the taller stories. So that's T5. And then one of the things that happens is he puts it all out there, puts up all of these great signs. Everything's looking like it's moving forward. And he also puts in that he's going to have helicopters, the drones that are going to fly, which comes back to one of my campaign promises when I ran for commissioner. It was that the only way you were going to solve traffic in Miami was with flying cars. So this was apparently...
So what are the drones doing?
No, passengers, they would come in and they would drop it like an Uber.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And they had little
very
lane passes.
forward thinking.
Very, very, very forward thinking.
Wow.
And then 2019 rolled around, 2020, and that idea went to hell. So he lost all the properties. It went under Fuse funding, had a big portion of the properties that he had, and then what ended up happening, Fuse still controls the gas station, or the old gas station, the old car wash.
Must be old, because you have to tell me where it was. I have no idea what
Right,
he's
so yeah,
talking about.
it's across from where the
CBS?
No, yeah, CBS, but also where the farmers market is held
okay.
every Saturday. So that brings us up to around 2019. Let me see if I'm missing anything. No, so we're in 2022. Remember, we have a must expiring, but in 2017, something happens also. What happened in 2017? Take it away.
New tax law for opportunity zones. Basically, an incentive for investors to take their capital gains, defer those taxes by investing in an opportunity fund, meaning putting in these dollars into economically distressed neighborhoods.
And Grand Avenue gets that designation immediately. It actually is asked for by the community to the state of Florida. It's added to the opportunity zone. And then again, you can have a fund, and this basically what it does is it defers profits from any of the investment. So if you made some money on Bitcoin, then you can take that profit. Okay, exactly, and lose it also. So you can take that money and move it into these funds, and then these funds would be tax deferred, or if you held them up to 10 years, they would actually be tax free. You would be able to reinvest them. So that happens in 2017, which triggers a couple of things. It triggers some mergers on some of the properties, and they turn them into opportunity zone funds and designations for the LLCs. So behind us, back here, between Elizabeth, Thomas, and I think it goes to Hibiscus, there's a development coming up there. They've already got a building permit set up. It's probably going to be T5, it's zone T5R and O, so there could be some restrictions as to what's built there. And more importantly, the Range Funeral Home, the unit, the old B&B properties that now are owned by Sable Hill, that was a purchase, that was another little deal. They own the properties, and they have a demo permit to knock this down. So you'll see this coming down. This also has some violence. This already has a table, so it was pulled. So we will probably see it in the next couple of months.
Really?
And then the properties behind, between Elizabeth on Thomas on the backside, which are owned also by Grove, I think, I don't know if it's Abaco, Grove Apical LLC.
Yeah.
They have actually a permit already in place that was pulled in 2022 to actually activate that property. So
I can't help but think that if everyone had like a crystal ball and could see the future,
Yep.
that this all would have went differently before 2020.
for sure, it would have gone if in 2003 the original investors had 5.5 million, even paying the $8 million, that this whole thing would have already been redeveloped and redeveloped in a completely different way.
Yeah.
But you know, you're gonna see this continue to play out. So let's say we recap: 2011, a must.
Yes.
2016, Terra makes a play on it. They lose the play on it. We get a little bit of dispute. B&B buys one of the properties, becomes a player into this whole thing. That shifts over. Metronomic comes in, makes a big promise. They get it, they lose it. Now we're back in 2022 with basically the same place we were, with the same people owning the same properties that were owned in 2003. So you have Grove Grand that owns a lot of the parcel, and he's actually got a really nice play, but it doesn't make any sense. He owns the whole block over from Hibiscus to Plaza, and he owns about 75,000 square feet of land, but it's zone T5. And here's where the difficulty comes in. T5, you can only build by right 65 units per acre. So look at that property, look where it's sitting in Coconut Grove, and then you say to yourself, can you build affordable housing? There's no way when your maximum is 100 units.
Then if you have that maximum of 100 units, you have to go luxury. And then there's your affordable housing, and then you push it out the residents.
Yep.
It's a tough situation because you don't want to push out the original residents here, but you also...
It's a financial play.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to the 2003. And one of the things that we're going to mention too is then government gets involved, and where do they get involved? They look and say, well, listen, we're going to create a CRA for this community and this particular area. So we'll talk about that on Tuesday, but a CRA is a community redevelopment agency. There is one in the works. It has not been approved. We'll talk a little bit about how that will trigger maybe some action in the Grand Avenue corridor. But for now, we'll leave you with enjoy, have a great holiday.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, and we'll pick you back up on Tuesday, hopefully with a fancy new theme.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
It's a holiday weekend.
Yeah, probably
We
not.
don't expect much from the
we don't
holiday
expect anything more
weekends.
than that.
But
And
hey, you never know.
Right, so Tuesday we'll correct any little errors that we made here or add some things to it, but we're going to be talking CRA, Community Redeveloping Agency. So again, have a great holiday.
Thanks
We'll see
for
you soon.
tuning in.
Take it easy.
Thank you.